today with licensed therapist and life coach Patty Brown. And we're going to be talking about our personal relationship with food. So Patty, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Lori. It's really a pleasure to talk to you today.
Well, thank you. So Patty, tell us a little bit about the personal relationship people have with food and how they can get an understanding about it.
Well, people develop a relationship with food through the messages they get when they're a child, through media messages, all kinds of things. And oftentimes their relationship with food isn't good. It's full of conflict and confusion, and it gets to the point where it's not just about nourishment. Feeding with humans is a very complex thing. It's very social. So there's a lot that goes into it, not just about getting our nutritional needs met.
So Patty, when you mentioned that people have confusion and conflict around food, how do we, and it's our messages, how do we get these messages? Like, where do they come from?
Well, you can't avoid them, Lori. They're all over. Walk down the grocery store aisle, and people are bombarded with ads about food. And oftentimes it's food that is pseudo food. It really isn't food, but there's just this constant barrage of messages about eating and so forth. And
Patty, did you say pseudo food?
I did.
What is pseudo food?
Well, there's a lot of food out there, or food-like products, that are just manufactured items, and really food is either grown or raised. It isn't something that comes in a package that you stick in a microwave oven.
Oh, so it's the packaged food that's out there. What about, people are saying that that's the same as if you're just eating, grown food from the farm. Well, what's your take on that?
Well, Lori, there's a lot of chemicals in those packaged foods, and one only needs to spend a little time reading labels in their pantry to realize that you almost need a degree in chemistry to understand what you're putting in your mouth. And oftentimes those chemicals are endocrine disruptors. I think that the chemicals are one of the things that contribute to the terrible overweight problem and many, many health problems that people are experiencing. Because it really isn't food. Our bodies were not meant to metabolize all those chemicals and things that our bodies don't even recognize as food, and it tends to recognize it as toxins, so it gets stored. And the best place for our bodies to store toxins are fat cells.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's very, very interesting. So I know you're having a course. Tell us about your course.
Well, it's going to be a 6-part series where people really explore their relationship with food. There's going to be a lot of journaling and a lot of experiential activities that will bring people to a better understanding of their relationship with food and some of the science behind how our metabolism works when we slow down and be more mindful and listen to our body, because our body will tell us what it needs if we just slow down and pay attention. There's been all kinds of different diets out there, and diet and nutrition is not a one-size-fits-all. Everybody has different nutritional needs. In fact, our nutritional needs change seasonally, situationally, and so forth. So there just is not a one-size-fits-all approach. But by spending time really listening to your body, people can hear what their own body does need.
Wow, that's fascinating. When you're talking about getting in touch with your body and your personal needs for food, how does one do that?
Well, I think just by paying attention and being more mindful, we rush around in this hurried lifestyle where we don't even stop to think about how we feel. And just the simple act of checking in with yourself an hour after you eat something and say, where is my energy level right now, and how is my digestion responding to what I just ate an hour ago? If we really pay attention, those messages are there. They can be subtle, but it's very profound when you slow down and pay attention.
I think it's very easy to see that in kids. They eat something, they become hyperactive, maybe they become annoyed or aggressive or angry, I think that it's really easy to see those behavior patterns in kids, or that the effect of what they're eating.
Yeah, it probably is present in us too. We just don't pay attention because we're too busy paying attention to everything else in our busy lives.
So give us another, how else do you think that we might be able to think about that before it actually, because after you've eaten something and you go back and you review, how do I feel and this and that, is there a way that we can be more mindful maybe before we eat?
Absolutely. One of the things that they're discovering now is that as you start to think about your food and look at it and smell it and start thinking, like, where did it come from? The thoughtfulness about where the farm was, where this food was raised and so forth, it actually kicks up the digestive enzymes that our body needs to process that food. So if we just dive into our food without taking that time to be thoughtful about it, our digestive system changes dramatically, and it actually speeds up our metabolism when those enzymes are present. So just slowing down and being more thoughtful, it can make a huge impact on your digestive activity and impact how you feel and how you absorb the nutrients from your food.
So I'm thinking about the viewers out there, and I just want to, make sure that they're getting these valuable tips, because I think that they're really fascinating. So the first one is to really go inside and look at how you feel, or analyze how you feel about an hour after you eat. Is that right?
Yes.
And the other one is to think more about where your food is coming from, and to actually think about your food maybe before you eat.
Yeah, and maybe check in with how you feel then too. Am I really hungry? What is it that I'm hungry for? What is it that my body needs and wants right now?
Okay, so that's fascinating. So maybe having a menu, the 2-week menu on the refrigerator, might not be the best way to go for what you're talking about.
Well, I think there's a lot of value in menu planning. I don't know anyone who could do 2 weeks and stick to it, but I think there's a huge value in menu planning so that you can anticipate and plan and shop your vegetables and shop more appropriately.
So is that going to be covered in your course as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Because I think that that's a source of confusion for people. Because a lot of people get home from work, they're really busy, they've had a very busy day, they grab something, they throw it in the microwave, and they stand, if they're like me, they stand at the kitchen counter and they eat while they're going through their mail. I mean, so that's probably not what you're talking about.
Absolutely, but it's very common, unfortunately. We take time for everything else, but we don't take time for our nourishment. And nourishment is so much more than just the food that we eat.
So in what ways is nourishment more than the food that we eat? Give me a little bit of an insight into that.
Well, who we spend our time with while we're eating makes a huge impact on even how the food tastes. And I would love to challenge everybody, yourself included, to spend some time eating with other people and slow down and enjoy the conversation and the atmosphere, perhaps some music, good conversation. It really changes not only how we experience the meal, but how we digest it.
Wow, that's a great tip. So when you're going out to dinner and you're hanging out with people and enjoying the meal, everything tastes so much better. I'm just going to say, it always tastes so much better when you're having fun and you're enjoying people. So that's another part of nourishment. Very interesting.
Yes, I think that is a really fascinating piece. And I think if we slow down to really notice that and take time, invite a friend over for a quick meal, or put yourself out there and invite someone to meet you out for dinner or something, it's a worthwhile experiment.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a try. What are you doing tonight? So Patty, tell us the result that people might be able to expect from your group, from attending your group.
Well, I think as they put the principles into practice and really pay attention to how they're eating initially, And then later on, people will just evolve into paying more attention to what it is they eat. It's not a calories in, calories out program by any means, but it's just being mindful. And as we become more mindful and improve our digestive system, people will notice a weight loss, though that is not the focus. But when we feed ourselves properly, our bodies will find its way to the appropriate weight.
Wow, that's fascinating. So how do we find out more about this program?
Well, go on the website, Twin Cities Therapy and Counseling Associates.
Okay, so what's the website again?
Twin Cities Therapy and Counseling Associates.
And is that a .com?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And go to the group page and all the contact information will be there.
Okay, that's great. And there's a little write-up so people have a better understanding of what it is?
Yes, and the dates.
Okay, awesome. All right, Patty, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What else can you tell us? Just give us like one more tip that we could do to maybe prepare a little bit for your group.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to ask people to do is bring an object that represents their current relationship with food. So just giving that some thought, people might gain some insights about their own relationship with food. I think it's something that we go through life and not really think about.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. I'm so excited. I'm going to take this course, Patty. I really want to take it because I noticed that I'm like the type of person when I get upset, I start eating. Like I'm a stress reliever eater, you know, and if I lower my stress and I manage my life better, I find that I'm eating better and I'm feeling better about myself, hence losing weight. So I'm definitely interested in taking this course. I think it's going to be great. Once again, what's the website?
It's Twin Cities Therapy and Counseling Associates.com.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for being here, Patty. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too, Patty. Bye-bye now.
Bye.